Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are going to wait just a couple of minutes before we get started. All right. Well, hello, everybody. We are so excited to be here virtually with you today. My name is Nicole Hemingway, and I am the CEO of the U.S. Pain Foundation and co-founder of the Invisible Project. And with me today is Rebecca McKenzie, the director of the Invisible Project. And we really are happy to be introducing our next edition of the Invisible Project, which focuses on pain research. For those not familiar with the program, this is U.S. Pain Foundation's flagship program, and it is a print and online publication that shows the reality of life with pain through stories, personal photos, and educational articles. And the whole goal is to highlight individuals' experiences with chronic pain and why people living with pain need and deserve more help, treatment options, and research, which is what we are going to be talking about today. So to learn more about the project or even order your own magazines, which are free of charge, visit uspainfoundation.org. And again, copies of the magazine, no matter how many you order, are always free. It has been 15 years since the creation of this project, which really is incredible. Over the past decade, the Invisible Project has published over 25 issues, distributed free copies to individuals with pain, caregivers and care partners, healthcare providers, and policymakers. We've featured hundreds of individuals and their loved ones. And we've included educational articles quoting experts on topics that matter most to people with pain, as well as spotlighting organizations that provide services for them and advocate alongside them. It really is truly amazing when you sit back to see how far we have come over the years. And I just want to say thank you to every past, current, and future participant for having the courage to be part of this project. It really means so much, and we are doing so much to amplify the voices of individuals that are living with pain. So, Rebecca, I think before we get into this amazing edition, I just wanted to talk about why it is so important for us to tell our stories and what that does for the community as a whole, but also for society as a whole.
Absolutely. I think that really is what makes Invisible Project so special is the really personal storytelling and the fact that one of our biggest goals is to amplify everyday voices and individual people living with pain and really give them a chance to tell their own story on their own terms. And we hear just over and over from people how powerful that is for them to get the chance to just say in their own words what their story is and what their experience is. And then also just for people reading those stories, it gives them the opportunity to say, wow, there's someone out there who's had my experience and they understand what I'm going through. And it helps people feel seen and it helps people realize that they're not alone. And so this magazine just through that really personal storytelling helps facilitate those moments, and it's incredibly powerful.
It really, really is. And while pain is the leading cause of disability in the US and affects more than a quarter of Americans, there continues to be a lack of understanding about pain, what causes it, and why it affects people differently. And that was why we really wanted to focus in on talking about research in this edition of the Invisible Project magazine, because research is a key piece of reaching that understanding. And so we are going to start diving into that right now. So here we are, and let's talk about our first edition of the Invisible Project that's looking at pain research. So one exciting feature that we'd like to highlight is that we have QR codes that accompany every article inside the print magazine. And so when you go through the magazine, please look for those QR codes and scan them. This is such an easy way for you to share it with others, and also go back to it if you found the print article or magazine somewhere and you wanted to read it later. So please, please, please utilize those QR codes if that's of interest to you, and make sure that we continue to share the articles as well as the profile stories as you go along. So let us introduce the 9 individuals in this current edition. Each person really provides a unique perspective and aspect regarding the experiences that they have gone through and the ways that they've engaged with research. So again, to read more about these individuals, please go to our website, uspainfoundation.org, and order your free magazines. But while you do that after listening to the rest of this, I am going to turn it over to Rebecca, who is going to introduce you to each one of our participants and also talk a little bit about every article that we have within the magazine.
Thank you, Nicole. So our first profile is Kelly. Kelly has lived with migraines since she was a child. After her symptoms required her to make a career change, she started working with a physician who helped connect her to research opportunities. She has participated in a number of types of clinical trials and research studies, including some that looked at both implanted and external devices, as well as some that explored the impacts of scents on migraine or the relationships between family members in pain. Kelly shares that even when a study that she participated in doesn't personally help her own pain, she knows that it provides information for researchers that might still help other people down the road and improve future studies. She has worked with her physicians over the years to try out at least 50 different medications and treatments to try to manage her own pain. She says, "I told my headache specialist, if you said to do a cartwheel in the middle of the highway and it would help, I would do it. I would try almost anything." I think that's a sentiment that most people with pain can understand, and it really shares why Kelly and others participate in research to try to pave the way to better treatment options. Next slide, please. Reggie has navigated a challenging treatment landscape for decades. He lives not only with several painful conditions, but also multiple rare autoimmune conditions. And the treatment of those autoimmune conditions has actually made treating his pain more challenging. So for years, he has searched for answers and relief. Learning about research helped provide some of those answers for him. So Reggie signed up to participate in several patient registries, including the NIH All of Us program and the Autoimmune Registry. Registries allow everyday individuals to share their data and experiences to help researchers better understand their conditions and their day-to-day life. Today, Reggie also works as the Director of Patient Partnerships at the Autoimmune Registry, and through that position, he helps connect others to research opportunities as well. His past experiences of discrimination and bias have fueled his participation in research. And as he says, in the minority community, we have to step up. If we want treatments that reflect us, we have to be a part of the research. Reggie helps make that happen every day through his work and his own research participation. Monica knows what it is like to struggle to find answers and help for pain. Over the years, she has seen countless specialists, and she has been diagnosed with multiple painful conditions. After working for years as a marriage and family therapist, her pain eventually kept her from being able to see clients in person. But recent advancements in remote research have allowed Monica to make an impact in a different way. And in the past few years, she has participated in close to a dozen research studies or clinical trials from home. These have included studies that evaluate the effectiveness of online courses and interventions to improve pain and stress, as well as to boost the immune system. Monica got involved because she knows firsthand how difficult it is to live with chronic pain and to find treatments that actually help. She explains, "I liked the idea of contributing in a way that could help someone else because pain is a challenge and quite isolating." Her research participation has shared more with her about her own pain and conditions, and it's also shined a light on the ways that the medical and research systems can better serve people living with pain. Joshua is a typical teen in many ways. The 17-year-old enjoys gaming, gardening, going to camp, and group chats with his friends. But he has also lived with persistent pain from multiple conditions since he was a young child. And along the way, he has faced a lack of understanding, delays in diagnosis, and treatment challenges. He poignantly shares the impact of that lack of understanding when he says, "If scientists had to live for just one day in my body, I would honestly feel bad for them. It's exhausting, but maybe then they would really understand." He decided to try to help them understand by participating in research. The first study he joined sought to better understand the progression of musculoskeletal pain in children and teens. He's currently participating in a second study that is working to track in-the-moment pain and function in young people living with pain. Joshua knows that every voice in research contributes to a better future for those like him who are living with pain. After Sammy had several bouts with COVID a few years back, she was diagnosed with long COVID. The infections inflamed conditions that she had had for most of her life, making their symptoms and their impact much more severe. It took several years of starts and stops before she was correctly diagnosed with fibromyalgia, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and POTS. She recalls of that time, "I tell doctors all the time, I won't confuse my Google search for your degree, but you can't confuse your 11 hours of pain education for my 20 years of life with it." The rapid increase in symptoms and pain drastically changed Sammy's life, and one of the ways she has coped is by participating in research. Sammy contributes data about her pain, symptoms, and daily functionality through an app that shares the data with researchers. Studies she has participated in have looked at how factors such as heart rate fluctuations, the menstrual cycle, or atmospheric conditions impact symptoms of chronic conditions. She knows personally how little pain is truly understood, and this is her way of trying to improve that. Stacy was diagnosed with lupus when she was just 15 years old, and it was just a few years after that that she participated in her first clinical trial. She knows that the historical mistreatment of Black, Indigenous, and people of color in the medical and research systems have contributed to a lack of trust in research and in the medical system among those populations. Her mission is to create a better understanding of the needs of people with pain within those systems, as well as to encourage others to have their voices heard in research. Improving that trust has to start from within the research system. As Stacy explains, "Are you working with me as if I'm just a number? How am I treated, spoken to, and supported? These factors are very important to me and determine whether I will continue in the trial because I feel safe or if I will choose to stop." So Stacy has participated in close to 10 clinical trials or observational studies that have either studied the effectiveness of medications or taught her more about her own conditions and pain. Today, whenever Fern sees a feather, she sees it as a sign of hope. Several years ago, she woke up one day feeling that she could no longer handle living with the pain of complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS. But then she saw a feather-shaped opening in the clouds, and it gave her hope to push through one more day. Soon after that, she participated in a clinical trial for a medication to treat CRPS. Although the medication actually did help her pain, the trial ultimately was not completed, and the medication wasn't approved in the United States. That was a tough blow for Fern, but even through that disappointment, she says that she still believes it's important for individuals with pain to participate in research when they're able to. She shares, "Remember the reason you are doing this study, whether it's for you or others." And she also urges researchers to consider the full person when they work with study participants and to understand that pain can impact every area of their lives. Tom's experience with research is a unique one. He has participated in a number of trials and studies as a patient advisor. So he works with researchers to design the trial and to make sure that the communication and the full process of the trial are accessible and realistic for real people living with pain. Tom's mission in life is to make sure that the patient voice is heard in research, because so often that's not the case. Thinking back to the first study that he advised on, he said, "Once I stepped into that first research role, I saw how decisions were made, how studies were shaped, and just how much was missing when people like us, people with lived experience, weren't in the room." Today, Tom continues to participate as a patient advisor for trials and studies. He works to connect other people with pain. He connects with them to bring them into research, and he serves as a vocal advocate for the importance of incorporating the lived experience voice in every aspect of research from day one. It's not just about giving people with pain a seat at the table, according to Tom. It's about making them equitable partners in the research process that is supposed to improve their lives. And Eden has not just engaged with the research and medical system in one capacity. She has worn numerous hats throughout her lifetime, including as a patient, caregiver, study participant, and a researcher herself. As a child of just 11 years old, living with extreme unexplained pain, Eden was accused of being drug-seeking. Then as a young adult, she had the opportunity to serve as her mom Kelly's caregiver. During the years she spent caring for her mom, she recalls, "I watched what real health disparities looked like in real time. It wasn't just about access, it was about dignity." Those observations, coupled with an experience as a clinical trial participant that made Eden feel unseen drove her to try to make changes from within. She is working as a researcher and a research advisor in the addiction and chronic pain spaces, and she is studying to make an even greater impact in the future. She knows how important it is to consider the voices of people with lived experience in research in every aspect of it. And through her work and her studies, she's working on making that a bigger reality for others down the road. So thank you all again to all of our amazing profilees for sharing your stories, for just having the vulnerability and the willingness to put your story and your words out there and to help others feel that they're not alone. We truly appreciate it. And I'm also just so excited for all of you to have a chance to read these amazing profiles. In addition to all of these profiles, this issue has informational articles that cover a variety of topics related to pain and research. So we'd like to share a little bit about those as well. Some of the informational articles in this issue cover topics such as the history of pain research and major developments and discoveries along the way, understanding the pain pipeline and why it is that drug development can take such a long time, what the NIH HEAL initiative is accomplishing in the pain research space, the importance of true patient partnership in research, the science behind actually understanding pain, trailblazing science and research efforts at several leading universities, efforts to dismantle disparities in pain research, innovative pediatric pain research taking place through the Track Pain study, how patient registries are getting more individuals involved every day in research, understanding pain scales, all the different ways that we try to measure pain, as well as their limitations, a how-to guide for you for navigating clinical trials, as well as a personal story of why trials are so important, the role of an IRB, or Institutional Review Board, and how they protect research participants, what real-world evidence is and how it complements clinical trial findings, and finally, the importance of population health data, what that is, what it means, and how it can contribute to better research.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. So next, we'd just like to take a few minutes to really thank the many people who made this issue possible. To produce such a publication, it really takes a committed group of dedicated, passionate people. And so I wanted to acknowledge our incredible team of writers and editors. Thank you for your willingness to contribute articles and share profile pieces with the world. This really would not be possible without your support and assistance. And then none of this would be possible without our incredibly supportive sponsors. To Kenvue, our platinum sponsor, and Vertex, our gold sponsor, thank you. Thank you for understanding the importance of the patient voice and raising awareness about pain research. US Pain Foundation feels extremely grateful to have such an incredible group of companies supporting us. And while the organization independently develops everything that we put out there and produce, we really, really appreciate the support of those that are allowing us to make sure that we can share information, provide support, and really help individuals advocate along their journeys. So thank you to Kenvue and Vertex for supporting this edition of the magazine. And also thank you so much to our corporate counsel. And I'm gonna wait a minute because my headphones just died. So I need to switch out and put on. All right, hold on. These things only happen, right? When you're in a webinar? All right, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. All right. And again, much gratitude and appreciation to our amazing, candid, inspiring profilees. You made this project powerful, informative, hopeful, and helpful. So thank you for all that you are doing in this space, and we appreciate you, and we are honoring and recognizing you today. So to learn more about this edition, as well as the Invisible Project and all things that US Pain Foundation puts out there with our programs and initiatives, please head to our website, uspainfoundation.org, and click Order Materials, or even just get involved on the menu bar. We really do appreciate you guys taking the time to be here with us today. We hope you order the magazine. We hope you read the articles and learn from these incredibly inspiring participants and get involved. Additionally, I just wanted to acknowledge that this entire month of November, we will actually be exploring pain research even further through our November campaign. So please continue to stay tuned and follow along as we navigate and learn more about research and ways to participate and become active. Rebecca, thank you very, very much for being here today. And again, to everyone tuning in, thank you for joining us. And until next time, remain informed, stay empowered, and take care. Thank you all.
Thank you.